Um, the press may record or take photographs of the meeting, so just so that everyone's aware of that. And tonight in the sort of officer call, we've got Nicola from Kia. So welcome, Nicola.
Thank you very much.
We've got Carl from Highways. So welcome to yourself as well. Sadly, the police, for the second meeting on the row, have decided to ignore us and not attend. I know the police commissioner managed to get to a Vesey ward meeting fairly recently. So subject to the meeting's views on that, I think that we should send a letter to the relevant officer to ask why they're not attending our meetings. And I'm going to ask Pretty just to comment on her contacts so that we know what we can do for the next meeting. Pretty, are you able to comment, please?
Yes, sorry, yeah. So yeah, we'll point you in the direction of the correct person that we can write to.
Okay, and that is, you mentioned an inspector earlier when we were talking before the meeting.
It was, let me just bring it up again. It's Adnan Afzal.
And he's in charge of community engagement from the police point of view.
Yeah, okay. So he's in charge of the engagement and consultation team. So that would include ward forums.
Yes. So I don't know what Ewan and everyone else thinks, but I think we need to write to him and ask him why we are being ignored and why they're not bothering to attend our meetings nor send us a report or an apology. So I don't know, Ewan, what your thoughts might be.
I think it's incredibly annoying. I mean, we spoke to Frances Clark, who's sort of the senior police officer in Sutton Coldfield, is the best way to describe it, I think. And she did come back and forwarded our email on to other officers in Sutton, telling them to respond, but they've clearly ignored her or replied to her outside our thread. And I think it's not acceptable. There was a couple of items I wanted to talk to them about. One of them was, even though it's within Sainsbury's area, the crossing there, it's in Mere Green, but there's a crossing there that has had some complaints from residents. And, you know, even if you're on private land, the way you drive your car is still subject to the law of the land. And, you know, we should be able to discuss these things within an open forum, not relying on sort of email that is not open and transparent.
Okay, so if everyone's agreed, we'll be pursuing the police for that, and because we also need them to respond because of the ward plans being on the agenda for the second meeting on the bounce, because there are items on there that need their input. Okay, does anyone else want to come in on that agenda point? Can't see any thumbs up or indications otherwise, so I shall move on to the next item, which is highways. I think we'll start with Kia. So Nicola, would you like to share with us what Kia has been up to within Trinity and Roughley wards? If you want to start with Roughley, that'd be helpful. And if you're then able to take some questions from anyone around that, and then if you can do the same for Trinity, if that's all right, please.
Well, obviously I'm quite new in the role at the moment, so I haven't really taken on that much as such because I'm doing a lot of training and things like that, so I'm sort of shadowing. Obviously, you know, with the financial situation at the moment, all our programs are quite low. We're not doing like what we used to do. So yeah, so like I said, I'm in a new role, so I'm actually at the moment I'm sort of training, so I'm not really, I'm sort of with Keith doing things that he's doing at the moment, so haven't really got that much that I can tell you at the moment, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could just comment, which is not, David, just comment, nothing to do with Kia whatsoever, because obviously they're on a contract and they've got to do what they want to do. But I think it's disappointing that the council won its judicial review, and so therefore the PFI, you know, is to continue. which is supposed to be 50 million a year from the government and 50 million a year from Birmingham City Council, and that there should be road resurfacing and lighting plans coming in off that. And all we seem to be getting is emergency pothole repairs. I'm not a criticism of Kia, because Kia will want to be doing more work for many reasons why they want to be carry on doing work, but it's not happening. I think it's incredibly disappointing, because that money's just sat in the bank where it should be on the roads, you know.
It is disappointing. Obviously, a lot of our gangs and crews, we've had to more or less half our staff. So a lot of our maintenance programs have been cut. We still obviously, like you said, do all the emergency works, or if anything's reported or specific, we'll go out and have a look at it. But as our sort of programs, we have really had to half them, which, like you say, is very disappointing and frustrating for us as much as residents and you councillors. You know, it's one of those things that we're sort of stuck in the middle at the moment. It is very frustrating, and we feel that because obviously we get a lot of sort of feedback from residents and yourselves.
Okay, thank you, Nicola. So there was any questions from a Roughley point of view? Okay, all right. So Nicola, could you come on to Trinity, because I know that you'll have been involved with some roadworks happening on Rectory Road, and there's been one or two other inquiries. I've been floating past you the last few days, and Keir as well. So would you like to give us an update on anything you know about that might be happening in Trinity Ward, and when anyone might be notified? Thank you.
Rectory Road, as you say, is still going ahead. That is from the 28th of October to the 8th of November. It is a full road closure, 24 hours a day. The notification letters will be going out as from the 14th. We usually do it 2 weeks beforehand, because if we do it too early, they sort of get forgotten. So it's sort of 2 weeks beforehand. The hospital has been notified, because obviously it's very close to the hospital. We understand it's going to cause a lot of issues with parking, but it's essential maintenance works that have to be done, and we're going to do it. We've got the 2 weeks. We're going to try and do it as quickly as possible. All I can say for residents that are going to have parking issues, and the access shouldn't be a problem, because it's going to be manned 24 hours. So we will let people have access if it's safe to do so. The part from Ryland to Gerard Drive, it isn't going to be such major works as it will be from Gerard going down the other way. So it will be more accessible, and Gerard Drive will have access.
So just to repeat what you've said there, the Gerard Drive estate, where there's something like 400 houses, will have access 24 hours a day to their homes. So the deliveries, the bin men, emergency vehicles, and anyone else who wants to get in and out of that estate will be able to do so without any major problems.
Well, as and when it's safe to do so, because obviously they will be working on there, but it is manned. It will be manned 24 hours. So when it is safe to do so, they will let them have access through. But like I say, the Ryland Road to Gerard Drive, it isn't going to be major works like the other end. So it will be more accessible anyway.
Okay, so that's one subject. Don't know if anyone wants to come in with a question on that at all.
I think I probably do, David.
Yes, I thought so.
I have to say the communication has been absolutely appalling, and I am amazed, Nicola, that you can think that people only need 2 weeks notice before their estate gets closed off virtually completely, and that they're likely to forget about that. I think a site visit needs to be made. And I'm wondering how colleagues who work on shifts, and let's say they're coming back at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's not safe for them to have access to their homes, what are they supposed to do? I know you said on a previous communication to David, and I'm grateful to him for sharing this, as always, that they could park elsewhere. I'm not sure that Keir knows the area. There is actually nowhere else to park.
Yeah, it's one of those. It really is unfortunate. The thing is, they're essential
But
works.
Nicola, with
They have to
respect,
be
it's not
done.
unfortunate. It's essential, and it's essential that people have access to their own homes. So can you answer my question? Somebody coming back 2 o'clock in the morning, are you guaranteeing that they'll be able to access their home?
Yes, because like I say, it's 24-hour manned. There will be people there, so they will let you have They will let them people have access.
Right, that's the first question. Thank you for that.
No
So
problem.
will the area be lit up at night?
As in,
people working?
yes, it will be. Yeah.
Right. Are people going to have to produce some sort of identification to show that they actually live on the estate?
No.
So
No, they
anyone
won't.
will be able to drive through then?
If they need access, yes.
Right. Is it going to affect the shops?
Is the shops, where are the shops along there?
Well, you tell
Sorry.
me, Nicola. I mean, Keir is supposed to be operating this.
I don't
Has
know.
Keir even considered that?
Well, it has been approved. It's gone through
Now,
Birmingham
I'm not
City
asking that,
Council.
Nicola. No, I'm not asking that. My question is, are people going to be able to have access to the shops? Are the shops themselves going to have access, or are they going to lose 2 weeks trading?
I've been guaranteed that access will be maintained at the whole time when it is safe to do so. Like I say, there will be work. Well, there will be working. So, you know, we have to make sure it's safe for people to go through the works.
And you have to make sure it's safe for people to access their homes. What are people going to do that require Meals on Wheels deliveries? What are people going to do who have to access the hospital for their appointments?
Again, we have been told that we've told the hospitals, so as in emergency, they know that they have to change the route not to go that way. Deliveries will be able to get through. Again, they will have access if they speak to because we will have people on site, so they will need to speak to the people on site.
Right. Okay, Nicola. So thank you for this. Somebody is coming home at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're going to try to drive from the church down past Midland Drive and turn into Gerrard to gain access to their homes. Are they going to be able to do that?
Yes.
You're going to tell me if it's safe, and if it isn't safe, and what might make it not safe?
Well, they might have to hold back just while they make the area safe.
And how long might that take at 2 o'clock in the morning?
I honestly couldn't answer that because I
know, Nicola, and I understand that you're new to Keir. I think this has been appallingly mismanaged. Nobody is gainsaying the fact that the work needs doing. The fact that money has just been spent on tarmacking the road, and presumably some of that is now going to be dug up again. Nobody is gainsaying, as I say, it's got to be done. The management has been appalling. And with respect, I actually feel quite sorry for you, because I think you've been lumbered with this one, and I am grateful to you for facing up to us tonight. I still think we need a site visit. I think somebody who knows the situation and who has experience of this, somebody who's actually going to be on the road on those occasions, needs to do a site visit, and it needs to be maybe with Councillor Pears if he has the time to do it. I know he's very busy, or with one of the residents who can then transmit that to the rest of the estate. We still have had no formal notification that this is going to happen, and you've got very vulnerable people living there.
Like I say, I have spoken to the team that are doing it, and they did say that the letter drops will be 2 weeks before, which is the 14th, isn't it?
And you did say before that people might forget, and I did say to you that I'm not sure how Keir can imagine that if their estate is going to be closed off, that they are likely to
When I
forget
say
that.
when I say sorry, when I say forget, I don't mean it like that. What I meant was people then tend to put the leaflets away. You know,
I don't
little
think so, Nicola. Not with
letters.
respect. No, I'm sure if it was happening to you or to Kia's other employees, that they wouldn't forget either. So I think a site visit is crucial. It's been appallingly mismanaged.
Well,
Okay,
I'll take that
Nicola,
back.
yeah, could you take that back, please?
Yes,
And
I'll take that back,
the
definitely.
shops at the end of Gerard Drive, at the bottom, at the end of there, before you get to Ryland Road. So they do need to obviously earn their livelihood. So it's important that they have got good access in and out there. So that's good. Now when the letter goes out, Nicola, just thinking aloud, sometimes things happen and that unforeseen circumstances arise. So it's been quite handy for residents to have a contact phone number on that letter that they can speak to somebody if there is an issue, shall we say? Because the best will in the world, sometimes we know work colleagues work on roads and then they disappear for the tea break or whatever, and there's no one there. You're stuck, aren't you? So people need to speak to somebody. So if that could be done, and if you can let me know what's happening, I'm quite happy to have a site visit with any interested residents and
Will
go
Ryland
over what you're going to do.
Open? Just out of curiosity.
Well, Christian, Ryland Road will be open, but I think you're going to see more traffic coming down there, which is a concern because it's a one-way road effectively with the parked cars, isn't it?
That's what I was going to say. If they can put I mean, that is maybe speaking for myself, but I think if there would be a parking ban on, well, obviously on the one side where there's little parking now, I think that might help because, especially with buses, they just get stuck. They just get stuck two ways, and then nobody backs out, and it backs up everywhere. It's during the duration of the works that I think that might help. Just having no parking on that other side, because then at least people can still pass each other reasonably well. It maintains two-way. It's just a thought I had just based on previous experiences with blocked roads in nearby sort of thing. So just to throw it out there.
Okay, thank you, Christian. That's good to come from because Christian's a resident in Ryland Road, Nicola. So it's good the residents asking for that. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Can I just come back for a second as well? I don't know whether yourself or it might be Carl. Hello, Carl. Later on. Hiya. I am waving even though I'm in the depths of darkness here. Whether or not there's a reason for what I'm going to call uneven timings on traffic lights. I came down.
Oh, we'll come on to that. Can we come back to that, Mary, please? Can we come back to that one?
That's fine. Yes.
Okay, because it's on my agenda later on, that is.
Lovely. Just to say finally, Nicola, that this isn't going to go away. And I have heard from people on the estates that they are going to physically challenge this. And they're going to physically challenge it with their vehicles. This, again, has been appallingly mismanaged, and somebody needs to come out and do a site visit. I like David's idea about the telephone number, as long as it will be a 24/7 telephone number, because Kia management will be at home asleep in their beds when the residents of our estate will be stuck somewhere in the middle of a road somewhere in the dark. And I think, again, if this goes to the press, there's going to be a lot of unrest and Kia will come out of it very, very unwisely. Thank you. I'll shut up now, David.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, Nicholas, what else have you got to report in Trinity Ward? Anything else you'd like to comment on?
No, I haven't got anything at the moment, no.
Okay, I'll mention something to you because I was in emails with your colleague today. Linden Road, and I put a request into pollard trees. They say they're up to scratch. They're not going to be touched for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But what I best call is the top of the tree is large, so probably does need trimming back. Do you know what I mean? The top of the tree itself. It's not the base; it's the tops. And I've sent photographs through And with all the leaves and everything else off these largest trees, they're filling the gutters and blocking the drains, and that's causing other problems. You'll probably hear this across the rest of the city generally. It's an ongoing problem with trees, but if that can be looked at, that would be helpful. Thank you.
What location was that on Linden Road?
Linden Road per se. Linden Road is by Sutton Station, and it's just at the back there. It's one of there's 2 rows of terraced houses there.
Oh yes, I know. Yeah.
It's just on street parking, residence park permit only. Okay. Are there any questions for Kia? Okay. I'm going to now bring in Carl on highways. And what I need to just tee you up on, Carl, is temporary traffic lights. One of my favourite subjects. Yes, I should be on Mastermind on it. Litchfield Road by Bishop Veazey's School, Midland Drive down Rectory Road, top end of Sutton by the cinema, Brassington Avenue. What can we do to stop all these temporary lights all the time being on when the work has been finished or not started and are clogging up and blocking our town? And linked in with that, why don't the officers who do this look at the timing on the lights? Because so often, I've reported and others have, you get some workmen, they'll put in the lights, they don't look at the traffic flows, and they just put the same time on every direction. And it doesn't matter whether anyone's waiting, there's a queue the other side, and just leave it like it, and we have to report it. What else can we do, and what else can we do to make sure the town centre, whose economy is fragile, is not strangled by these problems with residents suffering?
Yes, I mean, I can't defend it. You're absolutely right. And 18 months ago, we went live with a new permitting system, which brought us in line with the majority of local authorities in England and Wales. We used to have a notification system where utilities used to just tell us, this is what we're doing, where and for how long. Now we have a permit system, which when it works, is the company, whether it be utility or Kia or anybody, they apply, they book the road space, they pay for a permit. There's a whole set of criteria around the notice that you give, depending on what type and nature of road. It's hierarchy, there's principal road, A class, B class, etc. Everything has a period of time. If they apply for something, then depending on the type and nature, they have a small lead-in window. So if they say they're going to start on the 24th, they've maybe got until the 26th and then they must start, otherwise they're in breach and they reapply. Each time they apply, they pay. So it's, there's an incentive to get it right. If they apply for a period of time, let's say a week, they are charged for this. They are given approval. The permits team should and are required to check what else is on the network in the vicinity and also on what may be an alternative road. So, for example, if you're closing Rectory Road, then clearly you don't want something going on neighbouring roads that are going to be used as a diversion. So, Coleshill Street, Coleshill Road, etc. All this is what's supposed to be done. If a utility overruns, as in the case on Lower Parade, we started to invoke the charging system on the New Roads and Street Works Act because they overran. They then applied retrospective for additional time and it was refused. Sometimes we're the victim of a huge, I'm not making excuses, a huge number of applications, a huge number of road openings. I haven't been in maintenance for 22 years. I've been in this particular role, but I spent 19 years in maintenance. And back then, there used to be 40,000 road openings a year in Birmingham. So I can only imagine that has gone up significantly. We are all a small team. our team has shrunk, as you're aware, from 14 to 9 of us citywide. The permits team, I don't know the numbers, but they will be office based. They will have inspectors that can go out to inquiries, but I imagine there's nowhere near the staff to go and visit all of these locations. A lot of it would rely on the utilities doing as they said they were going to do. Sometimes we will put an instruction that it has to be manned. So the temporary signals have to have somebody there. So take High Street Litchfield Road at the college. That is a location where you would expect somebody there at all times, certainly 8 till 5, 6 o'clock, manually overriding, looking, assessing. If it's backing up into the town centre, then have the greens on longer. Fewer people would be coming into Sutton at that time, so you can have a shorter green incoming and a much longer green outgoing. All these things are in place, but they don't always work. And I think it's unfortunate that certainly yourself, Councillor Pez, you do seem to find all of these and bring them to our attention. We do immediately write to TM approvals, traffic management approvals, and our colleagues in that team, and then they dispatch somebody to go out. The system that is in place, that's brand new, that's self-funding, that generates some money from the utilities, is the fix. But I fear it's not working as everybody hoped it would work, and we can only keep on to the team. And if that means an acknowledgement that they're short-staffed, that permit fees need to increase, then so be it, because clearly at the moment it's not working, certainly in Sutton Coldfield. If I'm honest, a lot of my other areas through Erdington, Perrybar, Handsworth, I don't seem to see the level of activity. I mean, don't get me wrong, it happens, and we have some major challenges. There was a recent one in Handsworth with Severn Trent Water, with a closure. A motorist was simply moving the barriers and driving along the footway. There's some real awful things going on there. But by and large, it does seem to be in Sutton Coldfield. Certainly that's where I'm getting most of my reports. And as I say, I do immediately, and Ian does as well, we write straight to team approvals, bring it to their attention, ask for somebody to go out, and as in Lower Parade, we try and get it sorted as soon as possible, or start the fining system for these companies. And the fines aren't pretty, and at certain types of road it can be £2,000 a day. It's significant to make them sit up and take note.
So can I just say that?
Sorry, Ian, because I'll bring in a second. Thank you, Carl, for those answers. But what I want to know is, what can the permit team going forward, when are they going to review? Because I think these people give out permits without looking at the bigger picture on the traffic flows and the direction of flows and things like that. They just seem to issue them like bus tickets, and it seems to always be me picking it up. And yeah. I think something more needs to be done. So I'd welcome your feedback on what action can be done now. Can we ask them to review the system, take on more staff, or is it something perhaps I should raise in full council?
I can certainly, from my end, write to the service head of permits, raise your concerns. If Preeti, I know will minute this, and if you can send it to me, I can raise it with the head of permits, and copy you in. But yes, of course, by all means, you could take your own course of action, i.e. the full council or cabinet member, etc.
Thank you. Ewan, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, I think I'd spent. Kevin probably would have put this in anyway without any input from me. But obviously Kevin, who was the previous director in charge, he was as angry as I was when. Was it Severn Trent just casually closed Slade Road for a few weeks?
Yes, it was.
Whilst they decided to figure out what they were going to do. and obviously the law didn't seem to apply to him. And I think he was hoping to bring in a permit scheme about 2 years earlier, but I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I think because the utility completely took the mick, and then no sooner did they open that section of road, and then about 150 yards down the road, then close the road again on a different reason. And I think there is a reason that the utilities are here to serve the public, and clearly it's got to be safe. And if you've got a gas main there that's about to burst, you're going to have to close the road. But I mean, it's not just to keep the utilities, have to fit in with everyone else. And I'm disappointed to hear that the permit scheme may possibly not working as smoothly as it should. It's a while since I've come across something that we didn't know anything about, but I think we did have one a few months ago, didn't we? But I think that I can't think of it off the top of my head. So Roughley may not be badly affected as Trinity, I suspect.
It's the town centre.
Probably the town centre, of course, yeah.
Okay, I think that Mary wants to come in with a question about the lights on Rectory Road. I'm guessing at the end of Midland Drive, maybe.
You know me too well, David. Yes, and first of all, it's lovely to see you, Carl, because I know at a previous meeting you weren't sure if you were still going to be around. So as far as I'm concerned, you're one of the very few people that make sense. I'm delighted. Thank you again. For many years, I've thought that the section between Ryland and Rectory Road should be one way, because it is very, very narrow anyway. But I got stuck at the top of Rectory Road by the church the other evening, heading down. There were, I think it was Openreach, were just below Midland Drive. Yeah. And I waited 25 minutes to get down there. By that time, of course, people were pulling out from Midland to turn left. So that meant that's the reason, or one of the reasons, it certainly took me that long. But of course, people coming up Rectory from Ryland didn't have that problem, and it just seemed very unequal. I'm thinking now, well, I presume there will be people coming up from Ryland under the Keir mismanagement. That's going to really exasperate the situation, isn't it?
Yes, we have looked at potential one way. It would be controversial. We'd have to have the money first of all. There'd be a significant investment in the potential one way and which way, of course, and 100% buy-in off Good Hope and the emergency services. Acknowledgement that a one way would increase speeds. So again, additional funding perhaps to look at the existing speeds of the roads, how we could bring those down, whether we needed any vertical deflection, traffic calming to assist with that. It's on our bigger plan, shall I say. It exceeds the kind of funding we have for sort of local measures. We have also fairly recently through Council Pairs had a request to narrow Ryland Road as you come down Rectory Road opposite the hospital to turn left into Ryland Road, and it's a good point. It's a very easy radius. You can maintain your speed if you don't know what you're doing, and the request is to sort of widen the footway, narrow the road, and make it more of a significant indicate and turn left rather than just sweep around in third gear. So there's a lot of things we could do there, but we would have to consider and incorporate Ryland, Rectory, Coleshill. It would be a very big scheme. It would involve a huge consultation with Ryland Road, Grove Terrace, etc. A lot of people, a lot of properties there, a lot of different interests. And of course, whoever lives the wrong end of a one way that's worst affected will want the one way to be the other way. So there is a lot to consider, but it is something that we have looked at and is in the ward plan, and is something with the right level of funding we would like to tackle.
Yes, I mean, I'm grateful for that. It's just that there were people actually working. Well, they weren't really working from what I could see at my distance, but then I did approach, obviously. They were standing around and they could see that the traffic was blocked right up to the church.
Yes.
Anybody with an ounce of intelligence could simply have switched those lights, and they didn't.
Yeah, we do have that, and I believe Councillor Pears on that issue, Ian did write to the permit team regarding that as soon as it was brought to our attention. Sometimes, of course, you see, we at the moment we have a huge area, a third of Birmingham, and there's only me and Ian because of people have left and had to leave because of the reorganisation. Incidentally, for those who are interested, I learned 2 days ago I have kept my job. But thank you. I will now have, I imagine I will now have half of Birmingham. We'll go from thirds to splitting in half. So in the good old days when I looked after Sutton Coalfield, I'll now look after half of Birmingham, 35 wards.
It's a good job. It's a good job. It's a good job you're doing all those marathons, Carl. You'll be able to run twice as quick now.
Never mind the other wards. We need you here. But, you know, just to go back to
I have a soft spot for Sutton Coalfield.
Lovely. And we have for you, especially our double yellow lines. Just going back to what Nicola said before about economy, you know, there is the issue of the economy of tarmacking Rectory Road, which is now lovely, only to dig it up again literally a couple of months later. Not much planning there or forethought, was there?
It's not ideal. And no. Well, I mean, I spent many years in maintenance. It's not ideal. It's not something we would allow a utility to do, for instance. Unless it was an urgent or emergency job, would make them wait a period of time. Obviously, it's unavoidable. What's happened, and the works have to be done. I understand and share your concern, Mary, about access to the estate. I understand what Nicola's saying, and for the majority of the time, there will be access when somebody needs it. But of course, ultimately, you know, knowing the work and doing the work 40 years ago, at some point they'll have to dig up the road. At some point they'll have to put back, you know, excess of 100-degree tarmac. And for safety and obvious reasons, there will be a period of time, if somebody's really unlucky, that there simply cannot be access allowed. But that shouldn't affect everybody all the time. You know, night work is unavoidable now, because you can only imagine, you know, what it's like in the daytime. Sometimes when they work in the day, it has to be closed at night because the excavations and the depths just simply don't make it safe enough to have it trafficked in the day. So hopefully, you know, I probably wouldn't have said everybody will get access all the time. I'd say to bear with us. There will be times where it's absolute. You know, if they're just laying the tarmac, then clearly, you know, the car, the tyres would melt.
Okay, thank you, Carl, on that one. Can I just move on? Sorry, I've got Mike Hartwell's been waiting a while. Can I? Thank you, Mary. Carl, before I bring Mike in, Mike, is it a Roughley ward type question? Because I'm going to ask Carl to talk about finish off Trinity, then come on to Roughley wards. Would that fit in with your questions?
Yeah, that's fine. I can wait. There's no rush.
Thank you very much.
It is a Roughley question.
Okay, thank you. Carl, could you finish off on Trinity? Then we must let Roughley have a shout.
Okay, so all of the previous year's ward minor measures for Sutton Trinity are completed. Everything we was going to do has been done. We are now in a new stage, new money, new budgets, and for Sutton Trinity, we have some funding available to the end of March 2025, and then we have a budget for 2025-26. For Trinity, it's £20,000 a year. We're a bit late in the year because the previous Brumbreaths has ended and it's been amalgamated, and the Environment Neighbourhood Transport Fund, ETNF, has been created using previous uncommitted and underspends in Brumbreaths and ward minor measures across the city. so we have this money available, and what we've been doing is working with yourself, Councillor Pears, to see what we can do with that money between now and March, because it was only approved for us to go live in September rather than April that we would normally have. So we've lost several months in that respect. One thing we have looked at is that threw me, sorry. One thing we've looked at is disability access. So we have quite a few, I won't say complaints, it's requests from people in wheelchairs, etc. There's a person that assists a disabled person around the Bishops Road, Driffold area, and it's been brought to our attention there's quite a few drop curbs needed in the Trinity area around the town. So that's one thing we've been looking at and drawing up plans. How many drop curbs could we do for accessibility? We obviously open to any other suggestions, but time isn't on our side. What we could do with is kind of a steer or an agreement on what we should do with the funding this financial year, knowing that we have additional money next financial year and an awful lot more time to work on that, and other money could go with it to complement it, to match fund town council, SIL, development money, to do something perhaps bigger and better next financial year. That's probably the roundup for Trinity.
Okay, thank you very much. So do we need a proposal to support those schemes that you shared with me earlier, Carl, to get it progressed onto the next arrangement?
Yeah, I would, and I think Preeti needs to minute if councillors, public in attendance, are happy that drop curbs for wheelchairs, pushchairs, mobility scooters, lowered access. If that is something that you also share with us as a priority, we can look to draw up the plans, do the scheme outline proposal, and all the work we need to do to get that in place this financial year. And there will be some huge benefits to that.
Thank you, because they're on pretty on the ward plan. We have a list referred to on page 14 of highway improvements, which are on their plan as well, which these would include some of these drop curbs. So just to reinforce that proposal. So if everyone's agreed, we can take that forward, please. Okay, so
yeah,
I think that...
sorry, just to... obviously, if that's something that you'd like to put forward,
yeah.
I think you can sort of do the approval stage now, so we need everyone to either put a show of hands or physically say that they approve that.
Okay, was everyone happy with more drop curbs to help people with disabilities, mobility issues and those things? Thank you very much. I can see a few hands flying around on the pictures. Thank you very much for your support, everyone there. That's lovely.
Thank you.
So I was going to round off on Trinity and take you on to Roughley now, but I've seen Michael Phillips has got his hand up. Is this a Trinity question?
Well, it's a Trinity comment actually, and a Trinity question. The comment is relating to the indiscriminate parking that's been taking place in Rockingham Gardens. Carl will remember that we had a little bit of a chit chat last time. Unfortunately, my colleague Ray Mole, with whom you've also had correspondence, is not here with us today. But suffice to say that the situation has improved. So if you can keep pressure on your traffic warden enforcement officers, it would be most appreciative, particularly, dare I say, on the high days and holidays. The road, yes. Anchorage Road, is getting terribly congested in itself on a Friday because people can't park and they come zooming down Rockingham, drive back up again. If, of course, the parking wardens don't appear, then you know what happens as a result. So we have to rush out, take lots of photographs and send them off to the parking office, and they come back again in another couple of weeks. So that was a comment. The next item is a question, really. To whom do we approach regarding leaves to be swept from the gutters?
Okay,
if If you send me an email, so I suggest, Michael, can you send me an email for the roads where you want it done, and I'll pass it on to Carl, and we'll get them looked at for you.
It's not immediately a problem, but here again in Rockingham Gardens, we have a lot of people parking legitimately, and they go to work either at the police station or at the local college or the town hall or what have you, in consequence of which, when the road sweeping vehicle comes down the road at 9:30 in the morning, they can't get access to that side of the road. So I wondered what steps the city would be taking to try and gain access when there aren't so many cars parked to prohibit their road sweeping progress. Do we know what happens? Do they come at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Do you want me to answer, Councillor?
Can we keep it a short answer so we can move on to Roughley, please? Thank you.
Okay. Ideally, every road would be swept at night and when the vehicles aren't there. But to answer your question, I would have to request to Waste Management, Fleet and Waste Management, as a special, if you like, to try and do it off peak before it's all parked up. The problem with that side of the road, there's about 27 unrestricted spaces, and so at any time of day or night and any day of the week they could park there. They have a difficult job trying to sweep the channels because of parked cars, but I can put that request in. I can't say if they can actually do it, but I can certainly request it.
Well, it's
Thank
not
you, Carl. Could you
now,
do that?
Carl. It's just a question of the line of communication. So point taken, and we'll perhaps contact you if and when.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. So on to Roughley now then. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor, do you want me to start?
Carry on, 'cause I'm sure.
Yep. Okay, so Roughley Ward, we have, I like to do the positives, and we have had some success in Roughley over recent time. Roughly engaged with the Brumbreys at an early stage. The Brumbreys funding, which was a derivative of the Clean Air Zone revenue generated, disseminated out to the wards, and we worked. Councillor Mackey was very proactive and was the first ward in the city, to my knowledge, that spent the Brumbreys funding on measures that aligned with road harm reduction and healthy streets, etc. We have also had some success, thanks to Councillor Mackey and the Town Council, in securing funding for a zebra crossing on Little Sutton Road, and the sort of corner by the pub by Little Sutton Lane. It might not sound much, but there's a refuge there that I put in many years ago. The refuge is to be replaced. Quite a lot of civil works to be undertaken. The zebra crossing to go in, and it's actually around £65,000. It's a significant scheme. One I was perhaps more surprised that we was able to achieve than, I have to disappoint a lot of people. And this one I was really pleased that we managed to attract enough funding to go ahead with it. That will complement other works we've done there for the 20 mile an hour and the signage around the bend. It does bring in a little disappointment insofar as it stands, that's Roughly's money spent this year and next financial year, unless we can find alternative sources.
Yeah,
Over to you,
if I
Councillor.
come in there, yeah, I mean, I'm really angry about it. They came up with the Brumbreys money that, as I say, I was the first one to do it, and I think there's only 10 of us in the city have spent our Brumbreys money. And then what the Labour administration have then decided to do is, because the other 91 councillors hadn't spent their money, they then decided to give no new money for the next 18 months and then crack on from there. Now, I won't go into too many details as to which councillors have spent their money and done what we were supposed to do and which ones haven't, but I'm sure you can work it out. And it's really, because it's a cut, really. It's a way of them not spending money for a year, because, so as I say, 91 councillors have spent no money for a year. And so I'm really disappointed about it. The Brumbreys money comes from CAS fines, so that money's still coming in. And so for the majority of those who haven't spent their money this year, they've just carried it over to next. So I'm disappointed about it. I met Carl earlier today and we discussed other ways, funding of getting some money to do some work. So there will be work going on in Roughley, but we've just got a bit more creative about it. Carl obviously works for the council, and so he's got to say it the way it is as he sees it, if you know what I'm trying to say. But I'm quite angry about it. But sorry, Carl, to interrupt you. But
I didn't know, and I get it, and we feel an element and a level of guilt because we encouraged you, and took you through the steps, and then you find yourself in this position. So just to reassure you, as I said earlier, we are actively speaking to who we need to speak to. I've brought this to people's attention, and I would be doing my best to see what funding we can attract to those 10 wards that have already spent the brunt breathes.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, yeah, we've had more money spent in Roughley to various different things than probably whole constituencies added together, but that still doesn't make me feel any better for next year. But anyway, we'll find some money and we'll do some work. Yeah.
Thank you. That was
Mike wants to come in, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you both. Mike. Mike.
Three quick things. One is a comment, and that's I'm just going to echo what Mary said. I'm glad you're still around, Carl. And now I've complimented a member of Birmingham City Council. I'm going to wash my mouth out. But there we go. Second question was the A38 expressway from Bassett's Pole down to Minworth. Who looks after that stretch of road, because it's forever being fly tipped and it's an absolute shambles. But the main question was, and you can probably guess my way to work from the last two questions. If I travel up Essex Road to the top with Roughley, and you can correct me if I get the names of the roads wrong, from 8:30 in the morning through to 5:30 of an evening, there are cars parked all the way along the top of Roughley Road, right across the junction, all the way along, as parents drop their kids off for before after school club, staff park there, etc., all day long. Now, the roads around here aren't exactly wide, and to have people park right across the junction when I'm trying to turn either left or right and having cars coming down my side of the road, there's going to be a bump. So I know when we looked at the school expansion and we put in double yellow, well, you put in double yellow lights, and everything else around here. I don't know why I'm asking, because you just said there's no money, but when there is some money, can we look at what can be done? Because it's with kids around, or even without kids around, someone's going to go down. Somebody's going to get hurt.
I mean, yeah, so taking them in the order, Mike, thank you, and thank you for your comments. If we come the other way, so if you go from Aston Minworth going north, it's Public Highway, Birmingham City Council, past the first couple of roundabouts, a new one, etc. And I believe we go as far as the first slip to the M6 toll. After that, we're into either North Warwickshire and then Staffordshire, something like that. It's only hours for that first sort of couple of sections, first couple of roundabouts. Waste Management do litter pick it. I know this because what they try and do is to do it safely with regulations, HSC, whatever. They can only do is have operatives there on the edge of the highway if there's a lane closure. Now, Fleet and Waste can't afford to put a lane closure on every time to litter ticket, because you're looking at £10,000 for that kind of work, that length, those timings, etc. So what they look to do, and we work with them on this, is to literally jump on whenever there's a lane closure for whatever reason, whether it's for Pedimore, the Amazon development, or whatever. That's when they try and jump on. And as you may or may not be aware, going north from the same place, the second lay-by going north, we extinguished about 2 years ago because of the amount of rubbish, fly tipping. There was a lot of HGV drivers, some sympathy because it was back end of COVID and a lot of places were closed. There wasn't a lot of toilet facilities. So a lot of drivers were leaving bags of things. So we had a good clear up and we extinguished that lay-by, got rid of it. So we have tried to do our part as and when, but the responsibility is Fleet and Waste Management again, but we do try and assist and work with them. After that, as I say, it becomes either North Warwickshire and then Staffordshire. Certainly when you go up to Bassett's Pole, Caraway Head, that's Staffordshire.
What about going the other way? Because there's one lay-by as you're going from Bassett's Pole to Minworth, and there's been all manner of stuff dumped in the lay-by there for weeks.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Mike. If I'd have to look on a plan to see if that's ours. The other way I knew it extremely well because I used to do speed exercises with the police, and there's actually an exact mile marked out on that road where the police calibrate the vehicles. And as I say, we was heavily involved in removal of the lay-by. I'd have to double check that southbound lay-by. At the top of my head, I'm not too sure.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you got my email address, or go through Councillor Mackey if you want to sort of get back to me on, because it's really that southbound bit where there's, as I say, there's a lay-by with, somebody's done the house clearance, just dumped it.
Okay. On the second one, Essex at Row Allen, yes, obviously with the school expansion, we work very closely with Mr. Stegall and Stegall, the head teacher, and Moor Hall School, and the travel demand team and the planners and all manner of people. And we did put some restrictions, double yellow lines around the junction of Essex Row Allen, single yellow lines. I thought we was about there with the restrictions there, but if you're telling me more are needed, I'd probably just need an email by Councillor Mackey perhaps of what you think is needed in addition, where, and we can add it to the list for any future traffic regulation order we consider.
I'll drop Councillor Mackey an email, but it's really just the junction bit where Essex meets Row Allen. That's the dangerous bit, because
we have got double yellows there. We put double yellows there, both sides, to protect the drop curbs, and we went as far as the first road gully. That's kind of a standard thing that we do, about 10 metres measured off the tangent point. So there should be double yellows there. Whether it needs more, the one side was a bit further, and the other side stopped short because of a resident's driveway access.
I'll have a wander up with the camera and see if I can take a video and just sort of highlight that it's at the junction. There's cars parked in front of you. Yes. So when you're trying to turn left, you've got cars coming around the bend at you, and you're like, well, where do I go? If you turn the other way, again, you've got cars coming all manner of different ways at you, and there's nowhere for you to go. You're sort of in.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I know the highway code says that you should not park close to a junction within 10 metres and opposite, but of course people park with abandonment at school time, don't
they? No comment.
Can I be ever the optimist, which you're either an optimist or a fool, I suppose, but when the crossing goes in, which we're hoping sometime before Christmas, I understand that the pub, the whatever it's called, is it the Ego or whatever the Fox and Dogs,
Dogs.
That has formally given its car park, allowing parents to park there. At this moment in time, I understand there's some reticence because obviously they don't like crossing at the refuge. But I don't blame them because I find myself sometimes running across the road, which is the very thing you tell your kids not to do. But the cars come around that corner at times, so they're within the speed limit, but it's still a bit of a shock. So I'm hoping that will give some relieve a little bit of pressure. But I know what you're saying, Mike. I mean, the majority of people just want to park the car outside the classroom if they could, don't they? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll try and be a bit optimistic.
They'd park it in Mr. Steggle's office if they could, but that's a different story. But
okay, does that bring to an end Roughley ward on the report, Carl?
Yeah, just to clarify, as Councillor Mackey said, I was remiss to say that we are extremely close to finishing the procurement elements of the crossing works. We have a desire to begin the works at the end of October holidays, but that may slip into November. So what we're quietly optimistic, and I'm optimistic, I'm ever the optimist, is that we're all done and in place for Christmas, as a happy Christmas to Roughley Ward.
Yeah, just one thing I'll say, because I don't think we've had a ward meeting since, just for Chase Farm, really, with Keir and Highways being here, there was a number of closures of Weeford Road, which, they're a business, and the number of closures that had been there, sometimes one thing would be done, then the road would be closed for something else. And, if only they could have just been collated a bit more, because they've really struggled through the road being closed. And people, if they just see the traffic lights, they'll turn around and go somewhere else. So, it's sort of, so if we could just have a bit more joined up thinking when we're doing work, especially when it affects businesses.
It was closed about 3 times, and we stepped in the end to try and bang some heads together and to say this is just ridiculous. We have planning and coordination meetings. Okay, it's normally for the bigger schemes, but because of the permitting system, people have to submit in advance, and these things should be identified. And I accept that you can't always, Severn Trent dig the road, lay a pipe, and gas put theirs in at the same time. But sometimes things can be done under the same closure, and that's what we need to try and get right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you. Michael, have you still got a question you wanted to ask us? I can see your hand up.
I've been trying to decide how to remove my waving hand.
Okay, well, just click on the raised hand and it should come down. Fingers crossed. But okay, well, thank you, Carl, and thank you, Nicola, for your feedback. We're moving on now to Ward Plan Item 4. I think we've heard a lot already tonight, so I wasn't going to say too much on the ward plan because, Pretty, if you can just pick up about the temporary lights for page 13. And for page 3, can you just update that the town bid are having monthly markets, having a Christmas German market in December, and you and myself are working with the town council to see if we can try and get free parking out to Birmingham for supporting the Christmas in the town centre. But last year we failed. We'll see what happens this time. So that was just a couple of add-ons to the ward plan commentary. Ewan, have you got anything for your ward plan you wanted to?
Yeah, I was going to say thanks. First of all, Pretty, I was going to say thanks for sharing the ward plan. I think that was my version 1 that was in the chat, and so it's moved on a bit since then. But on item 1 on mine, the crossing, could you put that in as achieved? Item 2 for the improved bus service between the north and the south of the ward, could you put that as achieved / ongoing? Because they have now run the 110 from Harvest Fields down past Fairfax, John Wilmot, and then into the town centre. That's a limited service bus, as in it only does it at certain school times. I think it's had a bit of teething problems setting it up, but I think it's running a bit smoothly now. I would like that route to be like that all the time, not just at the school times. But but I suppose Rome wasn't built in a day. So, but yeah, if you could just put those, the first one's achieved and the second one achieved, but ongoing, because it still needs improving. And if you don't have version 2, I can send it to you if that's helpful.
Yes, I will check with Mel if she's got version 2, because this was directly off the website. So I think the website may need updating.
Yeah, Mel did version 2, so she should have it. She sent it to me. So I think Mike's got his hand up. Sorry, David.
Yeah, Mike, have you got your hand up?
I have, yeah, but Mary got hers up before me, so.
Well, I'm going to be very rude and let you go first this time. Then I'll bring Mary in next because I saw yours first. Sorry.
It was only a quick one on the ward plan anyway. I know at a previous meeting I'd given you a hard time about youth clubs in Roughley. So I just wanted to thank you, Councillor Pearce, for having a youth club at Duke Street Church. So at least one of the 2 councillors present has a youth club. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Mary, have you got a question? Mary, is it an old hand? Who said that? Mary, I can't. Okay. Christian sent a question around pedestrian crossings. Carl, if you can have a look at that and perhaps come back after the next week when you come back. Thank you. Okay, so that's an update on ward plans, unless Mary's still there with a question. No. Okay, so that brings us on to any other business. For your diaries, the next meeting is on the 13th of February next year. And how do people feel about having them on Teams? Are people comfortable with this? Yeah. Okay. Well, if you happy with the next one being on Teams as well?
Yeah, I think I'm hoping that it's slightly easier for people to attend rather than physically going out. I know there's a bit of a toss-up between the two, but I think it makes, hopefully it's less cost overall, which means we can have these things regularly rather than start and get them cut back even further.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm back now, David. Just really quickly. Christmas markets are wonderful, but we've lost even Poundland now in Sutton Coldfield. The unit will stay empty for ages. That can't make financial sense. I'll shut up now.
I agree with you, and I think that the landlord might be Birmingham Council, so we've not heard the end of that one, I suspect, so we'll see what happens. I thank you for that. Okay, is there any other business from anyone on the meeting? Michael's got his hand waving at me, and I'm not sure if Mike's got something as well. Michael.
Yeah, just a couple of items, please, Councillor. One of my pet interests is Midland Lodge, which sits on the fringe of Trinity and Four Oaks.
Yes.
It's now becoming very much a corrugated iron shelter. Any update, any news, any developments?
I haven't had any news, although I've heard a story that it's being put up for sale if it isn't already up for sale. So I'll try and find out and let you know.
Okay, thank you.
That one. Okay.
And the next item is really a general update, if you are able to give me a response. When I was at a last large council meeting, I raised the question of car parking charges in Sutton Park, to which Councillor Rob Pocock said it would be put out to public consultation. Is anything happening there, or is it a done deal, as would appear to be the town's police station?
Well, I have heard no more news on that one either. I don't know if Ewan has got anything to add from the cabinet meetings or anything like that. It feels to me like charging in parks has paused a little bit, but Ewan, have you got anything to add?
Well, I feel the council are missing on so many things that they keep saying they're going to do. I think that they still have a will to bring in car parking charges. It's just through. I just think that there have been ability to get things over the line is the only reason why we haven't heard any more of this. I think that I haven't heard that it's not happening, but no news is good news, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing is that they offer public consultation, and then it doesn't really happen, or if it does happen, it doesn't happen with so much energy and interest that should be promoted towards the residents. But there we are. Okay.
I've heard no news myself, and it's something I'm listening out for, watching out for, so you can be sure. So if I hear anything, I'll keep you posted.
Okay, thank you.
Mike, have you got a question? Any other business?
Yeah, Ewan's been on some emails today about a community group called Grow that supports parents who have autistic children or children with ADHD. So thank you to Ewan for attending tomorrow's event. It's basically, I don't know whether this is a city council meeting or a town council meeting, but if there's anything the town council can do to support Grow, I think it will be money well spent. And just to repeat the words of somebody at the meeting, that if the town council is there to spend money for people, I think Grow is definitely working for people.
You just to answer that, since we had our emails, I was trying to think of the word. I've had some conversation with the Mere Green councillors, because obviously it's not in my ward. You're my resident, so obviously I will support you and any other residents. I have had some conversation with that and the leader of the town council, so that to improve the engagement there, as you appreciate, with money you have to go through a process. But having said that, I totally accept the engagement can be massively improved. So I will try, and as well as me going there tomorrow, I'll try and increase the level of support they can get from the local ward councillors, because they themselves may have some ward budget they can support Grow with.
Well, without sounding like a stalker, I know that Simon doesn't live too far from the church. Neither do you. Anytime you can spend between, I think it's 10 and 3 or 9 and 3 or so tomorrow, and just pop along, I think would certainly open your eyes. Likewise, I don't know whether if you've had a chance to watch that video link that I sent out. That certainly gets the message home about what Grow do. So,
thank you, Mike.
Undoubtedly, I went to go and see them, and I spoke to those two ladies, as you probably were, and I mean, it's amazing that they do with so little, really. So they have my support. There's no problem there.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that, Mike. But don't forget the Sutton Charitable Trust as well if they're looking for grants. So I'll move on.
They've had some money from them as They've had some money from them as well.
I thought
but the two people that run it can't live on thin air.
Okay, thank you, Carl. You've got a question, and I think Christian. Then I'm going to close the meeting after that. Thank you.
Yeah, just very quickly. I haven't got an update on parks as such, other than I am aware that Sutton Park and 2 others were still being looked at. I know that because my colleague was asked to do the traffic regulation order work, but I don't think parks are quite in a position. I don't think they've got the funding yet to go ahead with it, but I think it's still on the table.
Okay. Thank you.
It's probably all I can say.
Thank you, Carl. Christian, last word.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for inviting me, and apologies. I did put our toddler in bed, so I listened to all of it, but I could not participate. The corner of, or the Formula One corner at Ryland Road and Rectory Road, I'm glad that it's not just me catching up on that, because yes, you can go through that with probably 100 kilometers an hour, and people do. It's interesting meeting. Thank you. First thing I find it, I'm from the Netherlands myself. All the utilities do everything at once. So you get the street is broken up for a month, and then it doesn't have to be broken up for the next 30 years. It's, it's funny to see how that is. It's you get a brand new street for 30 years. For me, it's mostly at the old, is it the old Royal Factory or something? Again, I'm not certain Coalfield, but the old old Royal Factory, where they're currently building a big
Old Regal Works on Coleshill Street. Are we talking about where they're building in an apartment block for 137?
Yes, correct. That one. It's just if because basically the only safe way I could work out to walk into town is via the crossing up at the church, Holy Trinity Church, and then
it's an important question which is going to take some time to answer, and we're going to run out of time because I should have closed the meeting at 8. Could you possibly send me an email on
I will do that. Yes.
Then I'll take it up with Carl or even with the developers myself on the site. Okay.
Oh, fantastic, David. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I'll get to that. Okay. Yes. Cheers.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Carl and Nicola. Thank you, Pretty, for input, and thank you all the residents and everyone for you coming along tonight. So thank you very much. And if I don't see you before, have a Merry Christmas. I know it's a bit early, but there we go. All right.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks.